That just.
Hell yeah!
I
know all
hated
about
those sound
enemas.
effects. Never do that again.
Okay, let's restart this.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Dilemma Dudes podcast. My name is Noah,
My name is Devon.
And my name's Keelan.
and we are gonna hit you with some deep discussions today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to go with dilemmas, and then you just completely turned
discussions.
I don't
left
know.
and went
So
discussions.
today, Devon has no idea what we're gonna talk about. Now, that's not too different than what usually
No.
happens.
I
with
usually
this
have a vague
podcast.
idea, though.
But he usually has a vague idea. Today, he showed up kind of late, and
I was working.
yeah, whatever, sure.
Well,
He
you
showed up
gotta-
late because he's a slacker.
You gotta make money.
And he doesn't know what we're going to talk about today. So.
Says the two guys who don't have jobs right now.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, well, I had a job
You
until
could be late. We're at your house.
I had a job till 2 p.m. today when the government was like, nope,
Nope.
another forced 4-week vacation. So,
Well, you
so
poor
that's where
soul.
we're at. I'm a poor soul, a poor
soul.
innocent soul.
You poor unfortunate soul.
But here we are. God, sorry. Today we're actually kind of talk about some of our fan submitted questions and dilemmas and ideas.
Heck yeah.
So, because we had some fans, I don't like to say fans, we had some listeners.
Listeners.
Yeah.
Fans is just a little
I mean,
much.
I would
We
call-
had some people that go through these dilemmas with us.
Yeah.
But I would say the people that do submit are our fans. They're the true fans.
Yeah, that's true. This
They want
podcast
us-
is your podcast.
they want us
Guys,
to-
we're just
to-
one big family.
They want us to
okay?
continue making content, so they give us content. It's just what it
Yeah.
is.
But if you don't have content to give us money. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
but we're one of our great listeners, who this podcast is also yours, by the way. I know I said that. Just wanted to keep putting it out
We
there.
have to say it every single time.
every
so,
time.
yeah.
Just so you know. Don't forget it. They sent us this thing called the political compass test. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Nope.
I think.
Oh, I've heard of this.
I
Yeah.
usually,
Yes,
I
have.
usually take it like right before an election happens. Because do I follow the elections? No. So it's like 2 days
I'm gonna
before
let
I'm
this
voting. I'm like,
ambiguous internet test tell me who to vote for.
what should I vote for?
But this is like a test that kind of spans all countries, whatever. So you kind of vote, and then it's all these statements. Some of them are very controversial statements. Some of them are just kind of like chill statements.
Yeah. Some of them are
like
weird.
your general thoughts. So we went through and picked out the ones that I'm like, yeah, I feel comfortable talking about this on a public forum.
None of this will make anybody severely angry.
Exactly. Because some of the statements are just good thought-provoking things, and
Yeah.
they're statements, and then you say whether you strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree.
Are we gonna talk
Typical
about why?
things.
I think we
No, yeah, of course we're gonna say
Oh,
why.
No, we're just
Okay.
gonna
We're
say
just
the
gonna
answer.
answer it and be like, next.
should.
Cool. That's the episode, everyone. And
No, we're not.
8-minute episode. All right, everybody, let's go.
We're not actually going to take the quiz. I did the quiz. But
I've done it before.
yeah.
I think I've done something like this before.
You probably did it like in homeschool.
in home high
Maybe
school.
you did it in homeschool.
Yeah. I did the quiz and I was quite surprised about where I landed. But
Honestly, sometimes like you see where you landed and you go, that's not at all
yeah,
what it
that's
is.
not quite who I am. I just had, I guess, a couple of the statements. I guess I was just quite more extreme than I thought I was going to be on that spectrum.
Oh, okay.
But in like, yeah, it was surprising. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to talk about that. Also, though, we need to go into, if you remember, our buddy who was, we told him he was being scammed by his driving
We
instructor.
said we thought that he might be a scam by this.
Yeah.
Wait,
basi-
did we get an update?
yeah,
So we got an
an
update.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was awesome. He starts out the paragraph being.
But you've
like,
already read it?
Yeah,
Well,
it's on our.
it's on our thing.
I guess I
We'll
have
read-
access
we'll read it all
to the emails, so that's why.
Yeah.
Well, I have access to the emails too. I just didn't read it.
He starts out the email by going like, he goes, "Hey guys, it's the Jeremy, the original Jeremy."
But yeah, the story goes
The
that
original.
he failed his first driving test.
Yeah.
And then they were like, but before that,
the car he
friend
was
of the driving
originally
instructor.
the car he was originally going to do the test with got in an accident, so his driver instructor got a friend of his to lend him their car.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
it was.
so excited.
Yeah, and then
I don't know if we should do it first or
and then
last.
that friend said, "Hey, if you want to use my car for your retest,
Yeah.
you have to pay me to do another lesson with you."
She
And we told him that it was a scam.
to pay.
Anyways, let's read. We'll just read it right now. Now that we're talking about it.
Yeah,
All
might
right.
as well.
okay.
It's just an update. Like we're
Yeah. So Jeremy here, or should I say the original
The
Jeremy.
OG Jeremy.
It's been a few weeks, and I thought it would be about time I check in and give an exclusive update on my road test instructor car dilemma thing.
wait, hang on, wait a minute. We have an exclusive update on Jeremy. Oh my
OG
goodness.
Jeremy.
Over to Noah, our on-field reporter.
Yeah, so to refresh everyone's mind, which we already did, the dilemma was this. My driving instructor's car got into an accident. Therefore, I had to use his friend's car for my driving test. I failed my test, but the kind instructor who let me use her car offered me an extra lesson and the use of her car for my second try at the road test. But it was a little costly. I was seriously split on this one. Do I say no and just ask her for her car and look like a jerk? Or do I say yes and pay the money, therefore not looking like a jerk, but also losing money? Also, we should hire this guy as a writer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Why did we even just give a recap? He just gave us the best recap ever.
We stumbled through a recap, and then this guy was just like, here's Cole's notes. This is exactly what happened. Let's go.
We need to go, okay, here's the Reddits and here's the dilemmas we're looking at. Can
Rewrite
you
them.
reword them so they make sense?
Long story short, I opted to take her extra lesson plus car for my second test. And here's why. Upon further research, I actually found
I
out.
think we need to hire him to talk for Noah
Yeah.
too.
I actually found out that in Ontario, the driver's ed instructors are only responsible for a vehicle on the first test. If you fail, you're on your own, and therefore need to find another vehicle to use. She was offering me a second go with her car to help me out, so I took it. And I realized I didn't tell you the guys the amount of money she was asking, but it makes more sense to pay this than to rent a car for the day, because I know that was another thing
Right.
recommended. Was it a scam? I could see it being interpreted as one for sure. That's what I was thinking initially, but I think she was really just trying to help me out. I should also clarify that this lady is a friend of my instructor, but also works at the same driver's ed school.
Okay.
She's not some random friend of his with nothing better to do than teach a kid how to
See, in the
drive.
original dilemma, that wasn't
It sounded
specified.
sketchy.
Yeah.
So
it
it
was
sounded
just like
so sketchy.
like the driving instructor was just like, yeah, so sucks. My car's out of commission. But Sally over here,
Yeah, like, I just
knew
have
her
this
from high
friend.
school.
But he said, admittedly, I could have used another car and saved the money, as you guys said, but I just felt a little bit better doing things this way. And it goes without saying, I passed the test this time.
Booyah!
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. Congrats,
Oh my goodness.
Jeremy.
High five.
You're welcome.
That's the sound of us high fiving.
You just smacked your microphone.
It's
hardcore.
fine.
It is peeking out very hard on my screen.
And he said, wow, a happy ending. We're so happy. What a great way to end that story. Thank you for the update.
Congratulations,
Mhm.
and thanks for the update.
We'd love to have more situations like this where you let us know something happened in your life and we can
Yeah.
provide horrible advice and commentary on it. And you can just ignore it all and then tell us that everything went
I
well.
wouldn't say our advice on the information given to us. Our advice
Yes.
was not bad because we
That's
didn't
fair.
know that she was a part of the same company.
I just love the fact how this guy was like, so yeah, my driving instructor, the car broke down. This nice lady offered to let me borrow her car if I took another lesson. We were just like, scam, bad people. You're going to take advantage of. Watch out, boy.
Well, the thing is, she was like, it wasn't just like she was offering another lesson out of the kindness of her heart. It was
Yeah.
like, no, pay me money for
That's
that.
what it seemed like. It seemed like she was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll lend you my car if you give me all this money and I get to do another lesson with you."
Yeah,
It sounded like
exactly.
you're like, maybe not.
And we get to spend more time
Time
together.
together. I've always wanted a grandchild.
All right, let's read one more dilemma that was submitted to our fan form, and then we'll
Sweet.
get into the political compass thing. We're going to leave you
Sorry, I'm pretty sure
on
the
the edge of your seat.
official name for the form is our family form.
Our
family
family. Our
form.
dilemma dude's family.
Our
form.
family form.
Oh no.
All right, so scientists are diving into research surrounding growing human cells within animal bodies, ultimately resulting in growing human organs that can be used for life-saving surgeries. Do you get that? They want to grow human organs inside animals.
I feel like this has already happened.
Okay, it is
It
happening.
is.
These kind of scientific studies may not be illegal, however, many argue it is quite unethical. The animals having human cells/parts grown in them could run into many complications and live quite horrible lives, as well as you risk the possibility of creating some kind of super species. These scientists argue that these issues are outweighed by the human lives that could be saved. Do you think that it's ethical?
So sorry. Just to recap, we're taking a cow, putting a human heart in it. Cow's gonna have a crappy life, but we could save a human.
Well,
with a
they're
heart.
basically forming
Taking the frame. Sorry. Taking the frame. There we go.
Move over a little bit.
All right, they're all good now.
Yeah,
They're
sorry.
basically forming. They just wanted to sit closer together.
I moved over. No, the frame. It was like I was completely in frame, and Devon's like had one arm. And
They're basically forming like they this video that was sent to us. I kind of wrote that out based off the video. Like they had a pig fetus being formed in a petri dish, basically with human cells mixed into it. But the fetus wasn't allowed to actually be born.
yeah,
That was the crazy
that's like
part.
the like very
It
specific.
was only allowed to be around
thing.
for 28 days, and then basically they had to kill it, kind of. So it was never actually born. It was just an embryo.
So essentially, it's instead of having people donate organs after they die, or donate like oh, I need a kidney. Oh, I'll give you one of my kidneys or whatever, right? Then they would instead go to a pig or whatever other animal and grow a kidney inside the animal and then put it inside the body.
Can I just say, like, organ donation, like, I understand why it's necessary. I think it's a great thing if you decide to do that, but it creeps me out, man.
It's
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, like,
but like obviously it's one of those like heartfelt like video things where it's like man who gave his kidney up gets to meet the man that he saved or something like that. Like that moment's cool.
but I'm talking about, like someone's in a car accident, they die, and then they
Right.
harvest a bunch of organs from them. Like, I'm sorry, like going to that funeral would scare me. Like I'm looking in the casket, I'm basically looking at like a deflated balloon. Like, it's horrifying.
I will tell
Like,
you,
it would
you're
just
already
freak
looking.
me out.
You're looking at a deflated balloon, whether they don't have organs or not.
I know, but like I think about that type of stuff, and it
Like,
just I don't know.
They pump the bodies up so it looks
I know,
like fuller.
I don't know. That just kind of creeps me out a little bit. I don't know.
It
But yeah,
it
I think
is,
the
like-
more the unethical part is that doing this to animals can harm them in lots of ways.
Right.
Like you're basically just growing up this animal to just eventually just take all its organs out.
But then there's
Which is
the
no
argument,
different than growing an animal to eat it. So
There's the argument of is it really an animal because they don't let it get past
that's
the fetus
thing,
stage,
right?
and then you get into like
Yeah.
you can talk about abortion and stuff like that.
I don't know. I think my personal belief is human life will always be worth even multiple animal lives.
Right.
So if there is a way,
But
they
how many animals specifically equals 1 human life?
Yeah, give me your equation.
All right. So
So it's like 5 cows, but then it's like 25 pigs, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And 0.3 of a pupper.
Because
Not
dogs
worth
have
it.
souls, okay?
Not worth it.
No.
You touch a doggo, you deserve bad karma, bad mojo. No, I don't know. I think if like they can get it down to like a science, like an equation where it's like, just think about it. Like if we're just taking organs from people who donate and people who are dying, or not dying, dead. There's an X amount. There's like a finite amount of that where if we can just grow them,
Yeah.
we can control not only exactly how many we need, but there'll never be a moment where it's like, oh crap, so and so donated their organ when they died. It's getting old. Gotta toss it.
Right. Well, that's the other thing is
We can grow them as soon as we need them.
Donated organs have like a half life, pretty much.
Have like a shelf life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows what a cow, how reliable like a cow.
when I
organ
was
would
at the
be.
grocery store stocking the hearts, I was just like looking at the expiry date and being like,
Eventually you'll
Damn,
just be able to
2012.
you'll just be able to walk into a store and just grab a human heart.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need a new one of these.
Well, like-
I think this like procedure, the idea of growing these organs in with animals, eventually I think we'll get to the point where we are just growing an organ.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll find
it's
a
been-
way to just do the
That's
organ.
crazy.
rather
Like it's
than-
been shown that
I feel like you're
people
right, but-
people 3D print like prosthetic limbs that actually move. Like
Yeah.
people like it's been shown that like what was
Yeah,
it?
but
I
a
saw
limb
this
is,
thing.
a
That's
limb is different
technology.
than
No.
like
But
a-
I watched a thing where a guy like 3D like this big company 3D printed like a heart valve for somebody that works with the rest of the heart.
Mhm.
Like
that's technology though.
I know, but what I'm saying
mean,
is like if we can go that route instead of the experimenting on animals route,
Right.
maybe it's a little bit better.
I think
I would
there's
if
say
you're
that,
re-
that
if
would
you're-
be better. Yeah.
If you're really worried about like the ethical side of the animal part,
right. Yeah.
I also think
Yeah.
it's a little bit risky creating like a human animal hybrid. That just sounds like the start of every bad
I was
movie.
just like, like Star Wars.
Yeah,
or
every,
not
like-
Star Wars. Why did I guess?
I
mixed up
I was like, did I miss
Spider-Man
one of the
with
Star
Star
Wars
Wars.
movies?
Excuse me?
I missed the human animal
It's like-
hybrid in Star
yeah, don't
Wars.
you
You know,
know
no, it's
how
like the
Luke got
farting
around?
and messing with time. It's like the beginning of Lord of the Rings. What is that? It's like what?
I meant Spider-Man, like the ones with Andrew Garfield.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the lizard dude?
Oh yeah.
Why can't I not remember the name?
Yeah, I just feel
Also,
like
I was up till 4 last night. Just couldn't sleep. So
That's like a bad choice.
I was so bad, and I slept till
Well,
2
it's like-
o'clock.
it's
Talking
2 a.m.
about-
right now, so
Talking about sleeping, I heard of this thing. Did any of you guys watch the like the Sherlock Holmes series with Benedict Cumberbatch?
No.
Yeah.
So he had this thing called a mind palace.
Yeah.
Where it's like you like make a house in your head, and then let's say you really need to remember a specific date. You walk through the house, you open the door, you walk down a hall, and then as you turn, you see a painting. And whenever you see the painting, you think of that date, and it'll make it so you remember
It's like
it forever.
it's a way to like
My mind's-
compartment.
yeah.
Well, it's a way to compartmentalize your thoughts. It is proven that that way of thinking and memorizing does work.
Yeah.
You can access like
But-
memories from like way back by doing this kind of like mental walkthrough.
And in talking about you sleeping, apparently there's a very common way that a lot of people.
Don't talk about me sleeping.
Well, it's connected. There's a very common practice to do the same thing when trying to fall asleep.
Oh,
Like you have a
interesting.
routine, like you go into the house, like you open the door, you go into the house, you do a thing, like you make yourself a cup of coffee, you drink the coffee or the tea or something, drink
Yeah.
the tea, you open a book and you write down all of your worries from the day,
Yeah.
close the book, put it on a shelf, and then walk out of the house. And by the time you're done writing and walking out of the house, you should be up.
Why can't I do that in real life though? That's my question. Why can't I make a cup of tea, write down my worries, close the book, and just fall asleep?
I'm sure some people can.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
got
Anyways.
really off topic.
Yeah, it's like back to growing
Back to it,
hearts and pigs.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not enough information for me to form a.
Is it
good
with
enough
the
thought
video?
yet.
Did it say how like new this?
It's
This-
new. Like this was their first time doing it.
Like
experimenting on it.
all good, all major science has come with some sort of risk, especially to animals.
Totally.
Like look at like space travel. We had no idea what we were doing, and we're just like, huh, peace out, monkey.
Yeah.
like come on, like
And there was like the one that came back. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, cool, we can now go to space."
exactly right.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, that is true.
I don't condone the slaughtering of hundreds of animals for no reason, but there is a reason behind it, and I think it's a pretty darn good one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if this leads to growing organs, if this is like a kind of leading point, if they're going to continue doing animals, there will be a point where it'll be like, okay, like let's stop killing animals, even though
Or,
that's
yeah,
like the whole like,
basically
well, you
just
can't call it an
torturing them.
animal because it's only been alive for
And it was
Ugh.
lab created. too,
yeah,
so,
like
yeah.
like once if it gets to the point where we are able to like grow organs and stuff like that, that would be cool. But also, if not, then I agree with Devin being like, let's just go with technology. Actually, before we get into Devin, tell your story about the man walking into work.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So I was
I hope he's listening.
I hope you are
I hope
listening.
you're listening.
I was at Best Buy, my place of employment,
Yes,
for the next
rub it in. Cool.
like 4 days. I was on the door doing like the COVID screening questions. I have to like point out a sign to get people to read them. Gentleman, nice full beard.
Full beard.
Mask on comes. So I couldn't really see him. Like, he had a hat on and a mask on. I think he was wearing glasses. I don't remember. My memory's horrible. Walks up, reads the thing, walks past me. I'm like, thank you very much. He starts using the hand sanitizer. Looks at me and goes, "We're all born good." What? I was so confused. I was like, sorry, excuse me?
If he didn't listen to our episode, like our podcast, that would be the creepiest
That would've
thing.
been
know, it is
insane.
creepy.
Sorry, excuse me.
So he looks at me and says, "We're all born good." And I'm like, sorry, what? Like, what did you just say? And he goes, "We're all born good. I listened to your episode. It was a good one." And he leaves. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm really appreciative." And I turn around and I go, I don't know who he was. And I hope you're listening, because like I'm horrible with like names and
Yeah.
I'm good with faces, but with the face masks, the hat, like I have no idea who you were, and I like it kind of made my day, but at the same time, no idea.
It made
It's
your
so
day, but also
funny.
made the rest of your day very confusing.
Yeah, I was
'cause
very
you're, like,
confused.
trying to
You're
think
just
of,
walking around all day long.
I'm sure there's tons of people that are listening that we don't know.
Yeah, there are just tons of people
Hold
that
on.
are listening.
Yeah.
Like millions and millions.
There's millions of people
Yeah.
listening that we
Like,
don't know.
By the
Like,
way, new
Spotify just
sponsor,
doesn't-
Amazon.
No,
No,
I'm sure there are a bunch of people that we don't know that
Maybe.
listen, but at the same time, like, it's Barry and we're pretty small and like,
Yeah. So, like, again, I hope you're listening now.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. But
Go
I
into
have
our
no
Dilemma
idea who
Dudes
you are.
forum and just let us know who you are.
yeah, like Jeremy, let us know.
Mhm.
Sorry, forever known as OG Jeremy.
The OG Jeremy.
OG.
OGJ.
All right.
All
Are
right,
you
let's
guys
get
ready
into-
for some statements?
Heck yeah, let's make some people mad.
Remember, you have to say
Agree, strongly agree, no,
disagree. Yeah.
disagree, strongly disagree.
Mhm.
Wait, is there an indifferent option?
No.
Then the no is more like a meh.
Well, there's no no. There's
It's
yeah,
a
strongly
meh.
agree, disagree, strongly disagree.
There's no indifferent.
So indifferent could be like agree or disagree.
Isn't there is like an option in the test
Not
that's
for this,
that's
no.
like unsure or like something?
Not for this one, no.
Really?
No.
Well, they need that
You gotta answer, guys. Most of them are
Alright.
statements that you should have an answer for.
Okay.
one. What
cool.
if it's not?
Hit
All
me
right.
with it.
What if
So
like,
here's the
should-
first
should
one.
I kill a baby to save the whole world? And you're
You're
like
indifferent? I hope you're not indifferent about I'm indifferent.
I don't really care either way.
Indifference isn't an answer, is my argument. You can't be indifferent about stuff. Not really.
I guess deep down,
Deep down, you're
deep
not
down, everyone
indifferent.
has an answer.
Mhm.
But
So that's what this is supposed to be.
okay, so we have
All
to
right,
really
so-
dig
Noah's
deep
saying
down.
what I think. Fine.
I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong.
Like,
Are you gonna just stand
I
by
will
your
always
country
be
no matter
proud to be
what
a
they do?
Canadian.
Mhm.
But if Canada was like, we're terrorists now, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, I disagree. I wouldn't just
I disagree too.
blindly stand by the country no matter what they do. Again, I'm proud to be a Canadian,
Yeah.
but like if they were just all of a sudden being like, "Hey, X, type of person X, screw you."
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't stand by that.
I'd say I'd probably be slower to like disagree with or to be against my country than I would be with other countries. But
Yeah. And there are things that as a government Canada does that I'm like, that wasn't great.
yeah, that was
Like
weird.
if we're talking like about indigenous issues and stuff. It's like, no, we need to talk about it. We need to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like rip up my passport.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here's
so I'd
an-
say yeah. No.
so here's
disagree.
another one. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it.
You don't choose the country you're born. Like I was born in Calgary, but I grew up in the States.
Hmm
I'm still proud to be Canadian.
Yeah.
I disagree. Because, like, again, no one chooses who they're born to. You can be proud of your family and your heritage,
You still love your family.
hmm
right? You can be proud of your history.
Yeah. I think when I answered this, I said disagree because I'm like, yeah, why am I be proud of my country? I don't have anything to do with it. I have a hard time like being like, or even like, when you watch a TV show and for some reason you feel like pride when like they win an award or something. You're like,
Yeah.
yes,
We
so
did
we
it.
did
You're
it.
like,
And you're like,
no,
no,
you
you didn't do
didn't.
anything. Like I hate when people, I get that people like they like to feel part of things.
Yeah.
Or it's like
Mhm.
they'll like be like,
I
yes,
do get
Lady
that
Gaga
feeling.
released a new song, Queen. We
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
She's so good. I'm like,
I do get that-
You had
that-
nothing to do with
Nothing
this.
to
Like,
do with
why are you having?
Yeah.
How
I
can
get-
you say you're like? People say I'm so proud. I'm like, why are you proud? Like,
I get that feeling when people watch a sport that they've never played before. If I was watching football, I'd be like, yeah, because I also understand what's happening on the field. I've been on a field, played, done all this stuff, and then there's someone who like clearly has never ever played football. And they're
Don't
like,
side eye me
"We
like
did
that.
it." I did. I looked at you.
You side-eyed me like
Chill.
that.
I was staring at Noah the whole time. But it's like people like that, or it's like, no, you didn't do anything. You also don't understand what's happening.
hmm. Well, but yeah, being proud of like sports teams is a weird thing too.
But
Yeah.
here's the
I think
thing:
it- yeah.
is like my Canadian pride is not like hoorah, go Canada, yeah.
America.
It's more of like, I don't know, like it's I don't know, I like how we're viewed. I care how my country is viewed by others.
Yeah.
I don't care if we're seen as like badasses or whatever. I don't care. It's what like I don't want us to embarrass ourselves on like like an international level.
Right.
I care about what we look like and how we're perceived.
I think I agree with the statement that it is probably foolish to be proud of it. Like, there's no reason to be. It's not like you had any part. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, I'm not saying I'm not proud to be a Canadian.
It would be different.
Like,
if you were born in Canada and then lived the rest of your life somewhere else. Then being like, yeah, if you're like, yeah, Canada. It's like, why? You've never been there.
But
You've never.
Like, no matter where you're from, I think you should be proud of where you're from.
100%.
I think you should be confident in you as a person and also, again, your hometown, your heritage, where you come from. And part of being comfortable and confident in that is being proud of it.
It's also knowing why you're proud of it. Like you, like I'm super proud of like my Scottish hair, my Celtic, Scottish, Irish heritage, but I've also done my research and like done research on my family and I know where we're from and all that stuff. It would be different if my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you're Scottish," and I'm like, "Yeah, Scotland."
And like an exact same thing. I don't know what else to call it other than Canadian pride, where like all of a sudden I'll find myself watching YouTube videos about like Canada's partaking in the world wars.
Yeah.
Like normally I like history, but I don't just consume hours of history on my spare time. But I think a little bit of that Canadian pride makes me want to.
Yeah.
And then knowing that makes me even more like, again, I'm not like, gung ho,
Yeah, I think the whole like I think Canadian pride is different than like
it's subtle.
American patriotism, like that, like we're gonna storm the Capitol.
Yeah,
I would definitely say
that's how I get a little weirded out by.
Yeah.
I definitely say like my Canadian pride is quiet.
Canadian, because a lot of Canadian pride is based around the fact that we have generally a good moral stance on a lot of things. We're not Canada as a whole. There are exceptions, and they need to.
Things are wrong in every single country.
But we, accept immigrants, and we are, we try our best to help those in need, and we were a big part in both world wars and all that stuff like that. That pride is okay, but yeah, it's the like gung ho. You say one thing wrong about Canada, I'm gonna shoot you in your face. Like, no. First of all, gun laws in Canada, great. But
stick the moose on you. It's like, whoa, calm down.
I don't. I think I would still say I agree with the statement. Like, I think it's a little foolish, but like I don't.
A little bit.
It's not like enough of a issue for me. I just feel like
this would be
if I could live in a world where there was no countries, like I'd be down for that. That's the thing why I think that.
Right.
So I'm like, why do we have to be so proud of a little random slab of land that we grew up in?
That is true.
But
like,
that's the thing is, I don't
human.
think it's really the land that a lot of people care about.
No, but that's kind of what divides stuff is just a slab of land. I mean,
it is that the border is a place that two people were like, this is mine and that's yours. Exactly. It's like it's the same piece of land.
So yeah, it is obvious. Like I don't think that's bad.
When we moved to Canada, me and my brother shared a room, and we would fight all the time about like whose side was whose, to the point where my brother took tape and put a line down the middle. And I'm pretty sure to this day you can see like duct tape like markings on the carpet.
Nice.
in the room. That's literally what borders are. It's just like
exactly
duct tape on a carpet.
Yeah.
All right, another one. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment.
I don't know what that means.
So like think about like if a late night TV and how they sometimes share the news, or there's YouTubers that share the news, or there's a worrying fusion of newspapers are just developing headlines like to draw in people's attention instead of necessarily getting the right facts across.
Yeah,
it's kind of what it is.
I would agree. I'm not like one of those media haters or anything like that, but I would agree that people definitely skew facts and skew maybe the perception of what is going on to just make catchy headlines that people will click on.
Well, yeah, like headlines I think are one thing. I like clickbait annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, I think what I worry about with this is yeah, I'd probably say I agree with the statement, but I don't necessarily think that it's any one person's fault or that there's anything that necessarily needs to be done about it. I think mostly what I get worried about is that like people,
In fact, we're falling for it.
people
fall
will
for
literally just read a headline and that'll be their news.
Yeah.
And you'll like see comments on Facebook where people will be like, well, they didn't say this in the article. It's like, well, obviously you didn't read the article then
Yeah.
because the exact thing that you're questioning was
Yeah.
spelled out in like an entire 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
So
There-
people that like simply use, if I watch a lot of like late night TV, like I sometimes watch all the monologues and stuff.
Yeah.
If that was my only news source, like it kind of was when it came to American politics, the
Yeah.
only point of view I was getting was people just making fun of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And you know,
'Cause
Donald Trump
you
said a
don't
lot
really
of dumb
wanna
crap, but
watch anything else.
but
to be
also
honest.
these late night TVs or SNL would take things out of context.
Yeah.
Like not saying that what he said wasn't dumb, but like if that was my only exposure to it, you have to realize that they're just taking a little tidbit of the funniest part that they can make the best joke
Yeah.
out of. I can't make that my sole point of information.
And that goes
Yeah.
for a good or bad thing, right? Like you can't just go and pluck out 1 or 2 sentences out of an entire,
Mhm.
conference or whatever. It goes good or bad.
Yeah.
You've got to know the whole context.
Yeah, so that's what I would say is worrying. But do I think that, or even like, do I think that late night TV is in the wrong for what they do? No, that they've
they're
created
doing
their
what
thing,
they were made
and they're
for.
not saying that they're not saying that they should be
Yeah.
your news source.
They
But
I-
very
again, I'm
clearly
not
say
saying-
that. Like,
But unfortunately, people will do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and that's the
Yeah.
worrying part is that there's people that
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
fact check
but
enough.
then
I'm not
there's
worried.
other news sources like that are actual news sources that
aren't
I'm
telling
like,
the full story.
don't
Mhm.
listen to them.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
I don't know. I'm not like, there's nothing that can be done. I don't think anything necessarily should be done. I just think it's actually up to us as the consumer to actively search out
Do your research.
multiple different news sources.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, for the sake of example, you love, like, you're religious about news source A. Then you should go out of your way to look at and watch the other sides.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah,
that's
every once
something
in
you
a
need to
while,
do.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get accurate information. What if your kids get into a fight? Do you just listen to Bob and ignore Sally, or vice
Yeah.
versa?
Sometimes,
no,
'cause-
you need to listen to both.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate that we do have to do that. That
But if
things
this
are
is
so
talking
divided
about-
and biased that unfortunately we do have to do that.
Yeah. We're talking more like the emergence of entertainment industry and news industry, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Which is sometimes that's the only way that people are going to get their news, right?
Mhm.
Like some I mean, SNL is a perfect example. Even though it is like strictly like it's comedic sketch shows. Why can I not think of Michael Che and
Weekend Update.
Weekend Update?
Yeah.
Like they take stories out of context. The stories themselves, I think, are pretty accurate.
Yeah, they just then add a
They add a bunch of
fake
jokes and they
headline
add a
or
bunch
fake
of
punchline.
fake
Mhm.
whatever. But we know that, right? Like us three
Mhm.
at least know that that's what that is.
Yeah.
And
I
so
would
we're able to
never-
go, oh, that's interesting, and look it up.
Yeah.
There are people who will look at that, they'll see a clip of the Weekend Update
And that's
on
the end
internet,
of it
and
for
they're
them.
like, they said what about Donald
They're on
Trump?
Twitter already.
Yeah.
It's like if I see something on there, I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story. Like I want to read more about that. Then I'll go to like an actual news source and read
Yeah.
about it. There's
Yeah.
some stuff that I'm like, okay, that maybe that's the end of the information for me,
Yeah.
and I'll have that in my head now. Like, oh, they said that McDonald's did this. McDonald's
Yeah.
is trash because I didn't care enough to go do more research.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's like whatever.
bottom
That's
line.
not harming anyone really.
If you're really interested, if you're really worried about what people are saying about it, and you want to know, do your own research.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say to answer the question, I would agree that it is
I would
worrying,
agree. Yeah.
but I not for the reasons I think most people would say.
I would agree that it's. Yeah, I agree that it is worrying. But I feel like if I was to strongly agree, that would mean that I would agree that it's worrying and that something needs to be done about it. I don't
Yeah.
think something
Yeah.
really needs to be done about it. I think it's more, like you said, it's more on us as
Yeah.
the person taking it in to
Mhm.
use our discernment.
People need to
about-
just think for themselves.
Yeah.
Like that's
We can't force media and entertainment to
It would-
fit a certain agenda, right?
it would be like me
So-
taking this test and going, cool, that's who I'm going to vote for.
Exactly.
Without doing any research.
Because if I did that, I'd be like, dang, I'm voting for someone I never
Yeah.
thought I'd be voting
Exactly.
for. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a
Yeah.
strongly agree for me. I I hate the fact that governments have to step in all the time and provide more and more rules.
Yeah.
But when it comes to when you're a corporation, I think it's okay.
It's been shown
When it's just
time and time.
I hate when they instill like what's happening with COVID nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just heightened. But even just in typical life, sometimes I sit back and think about the fact that all the hoops you have to go through just to do simple things that the government makes you do. I'm like, but like we're just humans living on Earth, like, and we're forced to do all these silly things.
Yeah.
I think that's why because I answered a lot of these to like, no, I think we should have freedom as humans. I ended up being like full on freaking libertarian by the end of this thing. And I'm like, I would never vote. Like, I don't agree with lots of things
liberal,
there.
conservative, other. What does that mean?
Yeah, I know. Literally, I was like, dang, okay. But I think
Like-
because I answered a lot of these questions being like, when it was like, do you think the government should add more regulations to this? I'm like, no, I don't think the government should. I don't think any of us should ever want the government to add more rules for anything.
Here's the
They
thing.
shouldn't.
You know
They
what I mean?
shouldn't
Here's
be.
the thing.
We shouldn't want that.
The regulations aren't the thing that annoys me. It sucks. I'm mad that they're necessary.
Yeah.
Like
It's-
I
That's
get
what I mean. We
get
should never
annoyed.
want it.
I get annoyed that they're necessary and needed because regulations don't normally. I'm sure they do come out of nowhere, but normally they don't just come out of nowhere.
No.
Right? Like the whole idea, like I remember reading something about how it's technically law that you have to clean off the snow on the top of your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
that
before
is
driving.
because a lady died due to ice coming off of someone's car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those rules don't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it sucks that they're needed. That's the thing. Like, what was that huge scandal in the States where this company was totally dumping a bunch of waste into a river? Like,
Yeah.
they were just dumping tons of
You
waste
sure you're
into
not
a river.
talking about like The Simpsons or something like that? Because that definitely happened.
Well,
No,
that
there was
too,
this.
uh,
There was this whole. There was a movie. Yeah, and there was this company that I can't remember the full story, but
But didn't a bunch of people get sick?
yeah, they ended
Yeah.
up tracking it back to like just like the entire community had
Yeah.
all these long-term illnesses, cancer from it. This
Like,
company ended up having to pay
Another
out
thing.
tons of money to all
Yeah.
these
What,
people.
there was this huge thing, like years and years ago about, what was it? It was some sort of thing people ate, but it had like huge toxins in them. Like I have to double check it, but it was like radioactive. It like literally like people's teeth glowed.
Sweet.
And they got horrific cancer and all these things because none of it was regulated.
Yeah.
Part of it was definitely ignorance, but then the company found out about it. It did nothing. They just kept going.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Which
what I
is
wish is that
super
we
messed
could
up.
just like in a perfect world, you just go back to this simple world where you found all your own food, you made all your own
Yeah.
clothes, you knew where everything was coming from, you never had to worry about.
Yeah.
Because the problem now with our world is so globalized that there has to be all these regulations because rules spread depending on where you're coming from, and you know China's way of what's okay
Yeah.
is different than
I mean,
North America's way of what's
To
okay.
put it into terms of like literally today, why are we going back into another lockdown? Not because the government just wanted to and put this regulation in play. It's because people aren't obeying the rules already set.
Mhm. Yeah, they're being forced to do it. It as much it's silly and
Yeah.
whatever. Have your opinions on it, but yeah, it's just
Find
like
it.
what are you looking at there, buddy?
I think I found the right thing. But it was some sort of like it was a chemical that they put in a bunch of stuff, and I think one of the biggest things was toothpaste.
That would make sense. if we-
Fluoride? Is that what you're talking about?
It didn't say exactly. I
Oh,
just
okay.
saw it.
The movie I'm
Um,
talking about, though, if anyone ever wants to watch it, it'll freak you out about big corporations. It's called Dark Waters. It's with Mark Ruffalo. I think it's on Crave now or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's about that whole scandal with this company that was
Mhm.
dumping just toxic sludge into rivers
But
if the word
and then
toxic is in
trying
it,
and
don't
then
put it
trying
in
to
nature.
just cover it all up.
Yeah.
But the
Like
thing
even
I'm-
when people were just like growing tumors left, right, and center,
yeah.
there was like they discovered it because there was this farmer, and
His,
all
like,
his
crops
cows were
were-
just dying.
Oh yeah.
Just dying out of nowhere, and this had never happened before.
Jeez.
The thing I'm talking about, it's the exact same idea. Like the workers in the factories just started dropping like flies.
Mhm.
People who are using the products, like it was something that was used that could be used in almost anything. I feel like it was in like toothpaste, paint. It was in a bunch of stuff,
Right.
and people started just like having horrible effects to it.
Yeah,
Like people's hair and teeth would just start falling out.
yeah.
And like the fact that the regulations were needed is insane.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's like like I said, I don't think you should ever want more regulations to be put in place because
Rules-
we don't want to lose more and more freedoms.
Well, the thing, rules aren't a thing that are just randomly created.
No.
Rules are put into place because something happened and they were like,
Do I agree
that can never happen again.
Do I agree that if one time this one bad thing happens because of this thing, that thing should instantly be banned? Not
No.
necessarily, because I'm like, well, freak accidents can still happen. Doesn't mean that, the snow on the top of the car isn't a good example.
Radium?
That's what comes to my mind.
Okay.
Radium. But I could be wrong. But here's the thing: is I don't like the
do
idea.
the research for us and
Yes, please. I don't like the idea. I disagree with the whole idea of regulations take away freedom. I don't think that's true, because you can still do all the things that you could do before.
You just can't.
Have to get it double checked to make sure it's not harmful. Is the double checking annoying? Yes, it is. Is it a huge pain? But I think it's good and I think it's necessary. In a perfect world, we'd have no regulations at all.
Yeah,
because everyone would be doing good.
Why were the 10 Commandments created? Because people were messing up.
Yeah, like
I think that's why these hippie communities become a thing, because you go to these hippie communities, they're like, yeah, no laws.
Yeah.
We just do what we want. And I think that can actually be quite successful if
there weren't bad people.
Yeah, if you have a trusted. Yeah. So it sucks that 0.05% of the population, it's like when you're in class and you have that one kid that's just annoying as heck and the teacher's like, you're ruining it for everyone. That's what it is.
Yep.
You did.
But it just happens for the rest of your life. So
no
even
pizza
the fact
party.
that we used to be able to not in my lifetime, but we used to be able to just hop on a plane, no security. Right. It was the easiest thing ever. You hop on a plane like you hopped on a city bus. Now the fact that going on a plane is like a 3-hour ordeal before you even get on the plane. It sucks. It sucks that we get to that point. And when I see people like rioting in the streets because they want the government to add more rules, I'm like, why? Yeah, that's not going to fix it, because the people that are going to be bad are going to be bad whether or not you have these rules.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a fair argument to not have rules, though.
It goes back to, is there, if it's a rule that's like, okay, we're going to tell people they shouldn't murder others, or we go back to gun laws, we're going to tell people they can't have an assault rifle because there's no reason for it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of okay with me, because that's a thing that's going to harm someone.
But
there's other issues where it's like,
the reason why that rule is in place is because there has been problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like in Australia, gun laws are like super, super like strict, but that goes back to the fact that Australia was created because it was a prison island. Did you guys know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I did know that.
So Britain, their like prison things were like overflowing, so they sent ships full of prisoners to this island. It was a big prison.
That's why they're so intense.
Yeah.
They're like made out of concrete.
It's like perfect.
Those guys like.
That's why they box with kangaroos.
Yeah,
it's honestly a perfect prison because everything there would trying to kill you. So.
500 prisoners showed up to Australia. 8 survived. They made the rest of Australia. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whenever I think of Australia, I just think of like, I don't know, just everyone's just Thor and Captain America. That's just what I think of. Everyone is just
blonde, jacked,
and just like huge, like Greek god physique type of idea. Just walking around, like you walk into Starbucks and the guy's just like, "Here's your coffee." He's just huge,
and you drink it, and it's black coffee. You're like, I ordered. They're like, we only serve black coffee. We only serve black coffee.
Like you can't order anything but protein shakes. Like,
but
to get on a bus, you don't pay a quarter. You do 15 reps.
Anyways, I would love to live in a lawless society, but I agree. Like that's not a world that, unfortunately, there's evil in our world, and like I said, I ended up being kind of quite out there on this scale, because in a perfect utopia, I wish that we didn't have to have more rules and regulations. Yeah. But I get that we do need to.
Yeah.
But like, you won't ever catch me out on the street saying we need to add all these rules. But I think maybe that's naive of me. Like maybe I just think people are too good.
It's the thing of like we don't, not allowed to use guns, and you'd be like, well, I don't even have a gun, so why is that rule there for me?
Mm.
And it's like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's for everyone else. It's just a rule that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? Like, it's the whole, as we keep, I think.
It's like that rule you're not allowed to.
All over my mic.
It's like that rule where you're not allowed to keep exotic snakes as pets. I don't have an exotic snake. Why does that have to be a rule?
Yeah. It's not for you.
But yeah, it's the funniest thing to me, because I find that the people that they hate the government, yet they want the government to do all these things for them.
Yeah.
Like, well, I hate the government, but the government needs to add all these rules for people to follow.
And
Like,
usually
but you just said
they're-
you hate the government.
they're surviving
So why
off
do you-
of unemployment.
Yeah, so
It's
like, why do you want the government to add more rules if you don't believe anything they say
Yeah.
anyways? Why don't you just? So that's where I'm at. Like, I don't care for the government. So I'm like, they should just screw off. Like,
There's some
live my
really
life.
cool Vice documentary.
That's my very out there thoughts.
Yeah. There's some really cool Vice documentaries on like in the States. There's a bunch of like plots of land that aren't owned by anybody, and like people have created like these like lawless cities
Mm-hmm.
in it. And
Yeah,
it's
there's
like,
the one out in the Slab City.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I've
I'm
watched
like,
a bunch of stuff
that's
on
super cool, but
I don't want to get shanked.
there are rules
But
within
nothing
that.
happens there. They
There
seem
are-
like the sketchiest people, but they're actually like
They're
so
usually
friendly.
like all like artists who like go there to like,
or they're like
open their mind.
ex-cons,
Yeah.
and they just got away. But they're like, why am I going to do anything?
Yeah.
Here? Like we all
But
love each
there
other.
are within that space, they are like, this is a, law, like there's no rules here. But
But
it's
there
the
probably
whole
is
like,
rules.
the only rule here is to have fun.
It's like, I
It's
get
like
that.
the unwritten rules. There's no rules, but if you break any of the unwritten rules, we'll kick the
that's
crap
That's
out of
it.
you.
It's like there are no rules, but yeah, if you kill someone, we're gonna kick you out. If you,
Mhm.
it
There's
goes
always
back to
rules.
last week. More like who says what is moral? And there's like the mayor of Slab City or whatever. He's like, yeah, if you kill someone, I'm kicking you out. If you, break someone else's stuff or you steal someone, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's not necessarily like strict, harsh rules about
yeah,
other
no
stuff.
drone regulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just want to be able to fly my drone wherever
just
I want.
wherever I want.
I just
Wherever I
hate that. They don't let me
I
fly it
want-
over airports. You
Honestly,
know? Like,
I just
why
want to have
not?
a race with a jet.
Me too.
I want to fly my drone with the missile attached and drop it somewhere.
Like, why
Why
does the
isn't
government
that
tell me I
allowed?
can't do that?
Honestly,
You know
it's
what I
weird.
mean? All right. This is kind of a good follow-up question to that one. We won't talk about this for too long because we kind of just touched on these topics. But in a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded.
You're talking above and below as
So
in
you
like
need
class
in a
system?
civilized society, you always need
You always need
a
someone in
leader.
charge, and you always need someone who will be.
Just obedient.
Right.
I think so. What I was going to say when we were talking about the other one is even when you get to these lawless societies, like we said, there always is a power complex. Even when you like to act like there's, you live in this great hippie cult and you're like, no, we're all equal. Like us
Yeah.
joking about this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you're fans. We're all equal. It's like, well, no, you're not. Like,
No.
we're obviously making the decisions here. Like, I'm sorry. When an artist like this, they're like put out an album or a song, like this is our song. I'm like, no, it isn't.
It's not,
Like,
you
what
wrote
part
it.
did they
What are
have it?
talking
You wrote
about?
it. You made this whole song. This is not our song. Like, don't
I
create
think-
this fake thing.
I think this goes back to the whole regulation thing. In my version of a perfect world, yeah, we're all 100% equal. That's not realistic.
No, it's always gonna. Yeah,
No, there
unfortunately,
has
it's
to
always gonna
be-
end up
right. There has to be someone in charge,
Yeah.
and there has to be people that will do what they say to enforce, as brutal as this sounds, to enforce their decisions.
Yeah. In a perfect world, peace would be the main objective, but there has
And
to be
everyone would be
people
on the
around
same.
to maintain that peace.
Peace can still involve. I don't think it involves like a dictator leader,
No.
but there's always gonna be like. There's always a
Have
certain
you seen
power
the dictatorships?
complex.
That's not peaceful.
So yeah, I think that in a civilized society, yes, you can't
There
just have
has
a
to
bunch of
be-
people
It doesn't even
just
have to be
all
one
winging
person.
it.
That's why, like, the idea of a democracy is great because there is someone in charge or is the spokesperson for a certain area,
Mhm.
and they go to a council, and as a council, they make a decision. That's great. That's kind of like
When it works.
that's the perfect idea for what what we're talking about.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, when you get to a dictatorship, it's less of, I want to hear all your ideas and we'll talk about it and we'll figure out what's the best for our community.
and more hit the big red nuke button.
Yeah. It's the thing from Monsters vs. Aliens with
Look.
his two giant buttons. And he's
One's
like,
for cappuccino, one's
Yeah.
for nukes.
No, Mr. President, no. Well, which one gets me a coffee?
The other one. Who designed this? What an idiot. You did.
All right, this next question
Kowalski,
is
fire
kind of
someone.
like really random, but I think it's a funny question.
This was on the test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's a statement. Sorry, these aren't really questions. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all.
Get
I
out.
love this statement.
Get out.
No, okay, I agree with this. When people like abstract art, let's say movies, theater, if you put out a movie and it makes zero sense, I'm sorry.
But
I don't like. It's not good.
I think
Art is subjective. So the artist is creating this and going, "This is art." You
But if
watching
they
and
don't
going,
even know
"That's
what it
not art."
means,
Oh, okay, then that's a problem.
like if I decide to just friggin' scribble over a piece of paper, and to me it's this beautiful piece of art.
right.
Cool. To me, it may mean something, but I can't expect people to think it's cool too.
I think
Just like if I put out a movie that's literally like, yeah, this movie I made. Well, I did a YouTube video called "A Video About Nothing,"
Yeah.
and I wasn't expecting people to really like it. I just thought it was a funny idea, but like I could have been considered abstract, I guess.
Yeah.
Not quite that out there.
I
But
would
if I
call
just
it-
literally just a
it's-
video, if I just did a video, literally just like me, if I was just to sit there and just recite my thoughts.
or just like 17 pictures of napkins for no
Yeah.
reason.
But
It can be-
someone in the world will look at that and go, "Wow, that was profound."
Here's the thing:
I
is
guess.
one of the few things that stuck with me from high school
you
is
went to high school?
yeah, for like a year. It was like the whole thing of like art imitating life,
Right.
right? And I think if the art doesn't imitate life, like it doesn't connect. It can be in an abstract way. It can be in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna get it, right? But as long as it imitates life, then yes, that's art. If it's just
You know who we should talk
if it's
to?
just like 7 napkins nailed to a wall, like I'm sorry, how is that imitating life?
Yeah.
and it's called napkins nailed to a wall.
Yeah, like
Why did you create this? Because I nailed a napkin to a wall. I was gonna say we should talk to Janet Ness about this. She's an abstract painter.
Yeah.
So you look at her art. Some of them you look at and you go, okay, I can kind of tell what that is. But there's certain shapes and stuff. But other ones, it's like you put paint on a canvas. So what is it? But to her, it was a
it does
thought
actually
process
look
stuff,
nice,
right?
My
it does
argument
look
is
nice,
more
but-
like I went to an art museum and there was literally just a section of like children's painting, and I was like, "What is this? Like, this is in an art museum? Like, it was like finger painting and like stick figures. Like, it looked like something that like a 3-year-old did, and it wasn't
Right.
like a joke exhibit. This was like
But
serious.
no, you just don't understand. You just don't get it.
I know,
You
and I'm
just
like,
because you
it was like at least with people that do like genuine abstract art,
yeah.
where it's just like, okay, yeah, it looks
There's a
cool.
thought process
and there's
behind-
still a little bit of it. It's not like they're just like freaking just whip their
I was like,
paintbrush.
there's a
Let's
thought
hope this
process
looks
behind
good.
it, and they put the paint on
Mhm.
the canvas in a certain way
And
for
they want
a reason.
certain colors and certain
Yeah,
mixes.
yeah.
But yeah, like
I don't
or
think
the movie we watched. I'm thinking of ending things. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of it.
no.
Anyways, it's I can't even explain it to you. Like nothing happened.
literally everything and nothing happened.
It was weird 'cause it
the
was-
horror movie that we watched the other night with
The rental.
the rental kind of really didn't make sense.
Yeah, but that was it. Stuff happened. You
That
knew
at
it was
least had like
story.
some sort of coherent meaning behind it.
kind
I'm thinking of
but you-
ending things was just you just felt like you were having a fever dream.
Okay.
Literally,
And you kept thinking something was about to happen.
She would go upstairs, look at something, turn around, and the mom would have aged 45 years.
It was just
Just out
it
of
was-
nowhere.
Someone
weird.
had an artistic vision and no one edited.
And then like you
I
read
looked it
interviews
up.
with the guy and
I
he's
looked
like,
it up.
"Oh yeah, I don't really know what it's about. You can kind of just think what you want to think."
The director had
you
no
know?
idea.
And I'm like, "Well, okay, dude. Like you can't just like the thing is, it was actually a well done movie. Like it was very
Yeah.
well shot.
But I
The
don't
acting
care.
was amazing, and you love these characters, but you're like, you just kept waiting for there to be like
A plot
Something.
point.
a plot point. Yeah, like a beginning, middle, and an end. There wasn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a critical point.
And then
Right.
out of nowhere, a dance number starts.
Yeah,
Right,
it ended with a
right.
10-minute long
I
like
see what you
ballet
mean.
routine.
I think I don't think we can ever say that something isn't art. If someone thinks it's
guess.
art and makes it, just don't look at it. Just don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't.
But don't
Deal
be
with
offended if someone criticizes it.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I think you
that's-
just have to have some meaning. If you're making a movie is as much as people might want to deny it,
Yeah.
it needs a story structure.
Yeah,
It needs like a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
If
I
you're
don't
gonna
even think-
not
I
do
don't-
that,
I will be even more lenient. I don't even think it needs a story structure. It just needs to have some sort of meaning.
yeah,
yeah,
It needs to have a
I do
point.
agree with that.
It- like the whole art imitating life thing. Like it needs to have a point. It needs to imitate life in some kind of
You don't-
way.
And the person
You don't
creating it
age
needs to at least know
50
what it
years
is.
in a second.
And like the dialogue didn't make any sense, man.
No, as long as the person creating it, like if you're an abstract painter and you have like kind of what you want to do, like, oh, I want these colors.
Yeah,
And if someone asks you, okay, can you, or if you're making a movie, can you explain your movie to me? If you can sit down and you can explain it,
or say,
or at least
this
explain
is
a
why I
rough idea.
created
You
it.
can take what you
Even-
want from it, but this
Honestly,
is a rough
I'll even
idea.
accept the explanation of this painting is what I thought happiness would look like.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's
okay.
fair. Yeah,
That's
for
cool.
sure.
Fine, go for it.
But just like
But if you
straight up
look
just
at it and go,
puking out
I don't
creative
know.
ideas,
Yeah.
nah.
Okay, I understand that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not art.
I guess I'm
Maybe
just,
it's
I'm
art,
just,
but
like,
it's
so
not
Anyone
good
could
art.
vomit
just-
on a wall and call it art.
Exactly.
That's a
Anyone
pretty
could make
good
like a
idea.
music video with a bunch of weird ass sequences and like music videos are another thing too that I watch sometimes.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of music videos lately because I really want to make a
You guys
music
watched
video.
the Lil Nas X video?
No.
It's actually like CGI and visual effects
I
wise.
know,
It's
I do
pretty
want to watch
good.
it. I've just heard all the
I'm just kind
drama.
of scared.
Yeah, I'm scared.
It's honestly like it's not as bad as people
yeah.
are blowing up
It's probably
about.
one of those Christians who just
Well, it's
losing
the
their freaking
reason why
panties over it.
the reason why he did it is because people were like, "You're gay, you're going to hell," and
I
he
know,
was like,
exactly.
"Okay, bye."
Yeah. I guess this is my
Guess this is
fate.
it.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
You're
We'll
forgiven.
do one last one. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity.
Define establishment.
I think establishment as in making peace that the government rules your life, making peace that you're going to be ruled by some higher power. Not a higher power that's like a god or anything, just an establishment.
Just a cool.
Like, is that part of maturity is just accepting your sad fate?
I think maturity is accepting the fact that they're placed there for a reason,
and you have very little control over it.
but we have some semblance of control.
Yeah. I could still choose to go live out in the middle of a forest, but eventually the
also-
establishment will come looking for me and want me to pay
I
my
mean,
taxes.
we like, even though there are people who are like, "Oh, voting's dumb," it doesn't actually make a difference. It does make a difference. That's why we want people to vote. That's why we wanted people to vote for in the states, like, so that change would happen. But, and I think I don't know, it's the weird thing of like we do have control over what happens with them, and they don't have entire control over us. But they're there to put the regulations in place so that we don't hurt ourselves, and we don't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that just if you agree or strongly agree with something like that, I think that's just a little bit of a pessimistic way to look at things. To just sit back and kind of what you said, just resign yourself to your fate is just a little bit. I think not only a sad way to look at it and a depressing way to look at it, but also a lazy way to look at it.
Really, like,
What if you want change? You're just gonna go. That's
what I'm saying. If that's the nice part about living in a democracy, is that if we believe strongly that something needs to change, we have the
we're
ability
allowed
to say something about it and to possibly make a change.
Like, we're allowed to do what we're doing right now. Like,
Yeah.
there's some countries that if you were talking about the government, and we
They
haven't
would-
really trashed the government that much, but if you even
No.
questioned any part
Yeah,
of it.
they'd break down your door. We would
Yeah.
be in chains right now.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
I mean, we'd have been in chains.
I know I've been complaining,
weeks
like,
ago, but-
dissing government control, but I know that we're very lucky where we are.
We're very
And like I
lucky,
said,
yeah.
I understand that as humans, we do need a government to look over us because we're going to make bad decisions.
Yeah.
But I also, if I could live in a perfect utopia, I would wish that we didn't need the
Think-
government.
a perfect utopia would be
Like John
the people-
Legend. No, freaking John Lennon's.
Yeah, I agree.
John
song.
Legend.
Just John Legend.
yeah,
John
Yeah.
Legend.
John Legend.
Just John.
Just
Imagine.
John.
The
A
song
perfect
Imagine.
utopia.
Perfect
it's just-
utopia
just
would be
me?
John Legend and Chrissy Teigen at the top.
No,
all of us.
Perfect
No,
utopia is just me and John Legend alone together.
the John Lennon song Imagine, you know?
Imagine.
He's imagining his perfect
Imagine
utopia.
there's no people.
Let's sing it right now.
I have it on my computer.
Break
of
out
me
the
singing
piano.
it. I do. Oh man.
Yeah, again, in a perfect utopia, I kind of answered these questions as if it was a perfect utopia. But maybe I should go back and do them as if I'm living in the world that we live in, and I'd
Yeah,
probably end up on a
because
different part of the spectrum.
That's what it's actually about.
Exactly. Like, I think I have these extreme thoughts, but when it came to if I was to sit down and vote, I wouldn't be voting for the person being like, let's ban the government. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be. Probably wouldn't be on that train.
The nice thing about these tests, though, is that it doesn't give you like one answer. It gives you like, hey, your answers were like 40% this, 20% this.
Yeah, so it
and
puts
then,
you in there's this specific one.
Yeah,
If you guys want to do it, it's
we'll
the
post a
listeners.
link to it.
Yeah, it's the politicalcompass.org. That's all it is. And it puts you in, there's 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
There's like a left and a right and a top
So
and a
if you
bottom.
remember from high school,
Mhm.
it's a x-axis and a y-axis.
Yeah. So there's like Trump and there's Trump and Hitler and what's his name? The Soviet Union guy from
You're really not. I don't know what you're gonna say next, but you're really not doing
Not me.
it.
They're up on like the
Vladimir
top
Putin?
right. They're like, not from the World War II.
Oh,
Who was the Russian general?
Lenin,
There was Lenin, yeah.
Stalin,
Stalin.
and
Isn't
Mussolini.
he like the guy who like murdered so many people?
Yeah, so they're
Well,
all in that
there's now-
they're all in that
Yeah, I
top
guess.
right quadrant because government control and
And Mussolini.
As soon as you say like Trump, Stalin, and Hitler, everyone's gonna be purposely like, well, whatever that is, I'm doing the opposite.
exactly.
Just
well,
like
you would have to be pretty extreme thinker to end up there. Actually, but the interesting thing on this quadrant, Trump and Biden are not far apart at all. People like to think that Biden is this radical leftist, but he's really not at all.
He's just a part of a party that believes
Same with
different things,
here in Canada. Liberals and conservatives are freaking super close on the spectrum.
which is why they're probably constantly fighting.
Like people like to really act like there's this huge division between them. There barely is.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was in like the bottom left quadrant. I was over, and they also put different government figures in them. So I was with Nelson Mandela, which I think
Interesting.
he's a good guy. So
He is, but there
I guess
was,
I'm Nelson
there
Mandela
was
now.
Some.
yeah.
Let's get this straight. This test is not to see who you are
Oh, really?
as a person.
Devin takes it just like right with Hitler.
What? You're gonna be throwing that
I
out.
think we have
People's gonna
to-
cut that.
We have to restart this podcast and start it with, "Hey guys, welcome to the Dilemma Dudes. I'm Nelson Mandela."
I'm Adolf.
Shut up.
Oh man, that's so funny.
And I'm Donald. Yeah.
If your name is Don, oh my goodness, my grandpa's name is Donald. Never mind.
Yeah, but do the test. I mean, I
Do
did it. Maybe Keelan and Devin can do it. Then we
I'll
come
do
back
it.
the next episode.
I
and
haven't
see
done
where
it
we
since the
all are.
last election, so
Yeah.
do it and then let us know on our family submission form.
If you on our family discussion,
form.
just let us know if you had any
No,
interesting
it's the family
discoveries.
form or the family meeting.
It sounds
Thank
like we're trying to like gather a cult.
Yeah, for sure.
No, we are.
Come join the family.
I'd love to start a cult.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so would
guys,
I.
thank you so much for listening to the Dilemma Dudes podcast this week.
Remember to join our cult. We have Kool-Aid every Sundays.
We have exciting news that we have to talk about.
Oh yeah, we got a new podcast cover art, and we're joining this thing called That's Not Canon Productions. It's
Yeah.
basically just like a podcast network collective
Yeah, so we're part of a network of
of other podcasts.
a couple hundred, I think, podcasts that we're able to kind of like connect with and
Get resources. and
get
stuff.
resources, cross promote, all that sort of stuff. So
And if you're listening, there might have been some ads today. So
heck yeah.
I apologize, but also unless you want to just start paying us money, we got to make our 10 cents an episode somehow. Okay.
This is like 9 cents or something.
So just to
It's less than
translate,
that.
just to translate with all these like businessy things. Basically,
That wasn't businessy
we,
at all.
we now have friends.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Just podcast friends.
Yeah. Things are gonna look not really that different at all. But we
No.
got a new cover art.
Got a new
so
cover art.
we're looking sexy on it.
Heck yeah.
So share with all your friends. Let's get some more people on here, and we'll see you again soon.
Go check out That's Not Canon Productions, and
Mm.
their website. They have a list of all their
Lots of
podcasts. So if you want to go check those out, see if you like any of them.
just
and
don't
support
like any of them more than us, else you never
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
So
unless you like give us money. So
give us money anytime.
Yeah.
like if you see us walk, that
Just hand
dude
us
should have
money.
just handed you $5.
Like
Give me
if you see me at my work and I'm like at the door, you know what? Just walk up to me, shake my hand, but don't because it's COVID, and hand me $5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know
I'll
what?
take it.
You know what? Screw it. Just make it a 20.
Yeah, if you ever want to give us money, just let us know. No worries. All right.
Oh my goodness.
All right, that's
We're
the
penny grubbing
All right.
pieces.
Have a good one. Have a
See you
good week.
guys.
See you next week.
Bye.